Hell again, Wired fam. Hope everybody's doing well. What's going on? Why does it seem like I'm crooked? You guys, I seem like I'm lopsided. Am I lopsided like you? What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and got your bellies full and spent some time with family. Just had a good time. I know we did, and we actually let's see, we did Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day, and then we went to the deer woods, did a little deer hunting. My 8-year-old Brantley, who you guys have seen, shot an absolute giant. We'll have to show you guys. It did go to the taxidermist. So when we get that back from the taxidermist here in however many months it's going to be, we'll have to show you guys that deer. I'll get him on here with you guys and let him show you guys his deer because he is absolutely super, super proud of the deer that he killed. So he shot one. I shot one. Let's see. I shot a deer Wednesday evening, and then he shot one Friday evening. So day after Thanksgiving. So we had a good time. Went, kind of got off the lake a little bit and did a little deer hunting. So blast, a lot of fun. And, he's super, super excited about that. So that was kind of our Thanksgiving. Again, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. We did not do a live last week, and that is because, well, like I said, I went Wednesday evening and got in the woods and actually shot one Wednesday evening. So I was not able to get on the live because I didn't get back to the house in time. So gave you guys a break last week, but we're back. We're at it. I hope you guys are looking forward to a good show because I am ready for one. I'm ready to show you guys. We got a new addition for the boat here tonight. We're going to kind of walk through that and maybe try to do a little install while we're on tonight. Let's see. Do a little install of that tonight. We're going to go over it. It's sitting right here beside me. We'll show you guys that here in a little bit. We're going to let some people get on tonight. But let's see, fishing-wise, what has happened since the last live? Oh, Cherokee Lake, Cherokee Tournament, East Tennessee Crappie Club. You guys probably saw that video. If you did not, go watch that video after the live, but was able to fish that event week before last, was able to win that event, and had a really good day and was really surprised to be able to go win that event. Did not get an opportunity to go pre-fish Cherokee Lake, and I'm going to kind of walk through how I went about without pre-fishing, how I kind of went about setting up for what inevitably was a successful day fishing. So we're going to kind of go through that a little bit today. We're going to look at the boat because I got a lot of questions lately about my setup on the boat. So we're going to look at the boat, kind of the setup and how I'm set up to be successful on the water. You guys will have to bear with me because I'm fighting a little bit of a cold. So we'll go through that here in just a little bit, kind of what I'm running, how I'm set up, and how I can be successful, what I use, the tools that I use to be successful on the water. So don't forget, when you get on tonight, drop me a hello. Let me know where you're from. I always like to see where we're reaching out to, and I always like to say hello back to you guys. So make sure when you get on tonight, you say hello. Put a comment in there. It is free to make comments, guys. Free. No charge for comments. Billy Noble, Rex Williams, Crappie Kev, what's going on? David A. Smith, hello. Joseph Thaxton, Big Kid, what's up? James Williams, Travis Martin from Hickory, North Carolina. What's going on, Travis? Donathan Brown from Lenoir City. Donathan, let me tell you something. I tried to go through Lenoir City last Wednesday night, and buddy, Lenoir City is a nightmare. What is it about Lenoir City? Can they just – let me ask you a question. Can Lenoir City not leave their street lights on the main drag through Lenoir City? Can they not leave the light green for longer than 5 seconds at a time? Well, it was more than 5 seconds. It was 11. I counted it 4 cycles, 11 seconds, and that daggum red light down there by the interstate only stayed green for 11 seconds at a time. That was ridiculous. It took me from the McDonald's in Lenoir City to the interstate, took me 45 minutes last Wednesday night. It was absolutely ridiculous. So anyway, that's my gripe about Lenoir City. I wish they'd figure out how to run streetlights down there because it was miserable. Anyway, I'm getting off that, Jonathan. But if you have that same problem too, let me know. Because I'm telling you, it was terrible. Tom A, what's up? Eddie Toon, hello, hello. John Stokes, hello, hello. Endo from Coreyton, what's up? The Joel Nash in the house. What's up, Joel? Paul Gwynn from Chattanooga. Nathan Wood, what's up? Danny Phillips. The Mr. Jimmy Pratt, what's going on, Jimmy? Virgil McMurray, hello, Matt. What's going on, Virgil? Dakota Thornton, Jim Swoboda. Did I say it right, Jim? From Columbus, Ohio. What's going on? Randy Brim, Mike Morrison, and Roadhouse. What's going on from Hendersonville, Tennessee? All right. So real quick, let's talk a little bit about Cherokee, the Cherokee event. So how did I catch my fish at Cherokee? Well, it was real simple. I took that Livescope right there, and I put it down. Okay, that one on the pole right there, and that Livescope screen. Okay, and I put that Livescope down and I fished. I put my head down. I fished hard from 7:30 to 3:30, and I caught some good fish. Now, if you've seen that video, you know how I caught those fish. You saw me catch those fish. Okay, but how? Without pre-fishing, because I didn't get a chance to pre-fish that lake. I hadn't been on that lake since November of last year. So yeah, hang on. We're going to stop just 1 second. Jonathan Brown said, I question that all the time, especially trying to go through at 5 a.m. and have to stop even with no one waiting at the crossroads. Lenoir City does not know how to set a red light. It's ridiculous. I need to know who to call because I need to call somebody and ask them, what are they doing? I think they try to trap you in Lenoir City so you have to stay there longer. I swear I think that's what it is. I don't understand it. It's ridiculous. But anyway, moving on. So back to Cherokee, off my soapbox. Back to Cherokee. So again, didn't get to pre-fish. Just kind of had to go wing it, put the Livescope down, fished hard, 7:30 to 3:30, and was able to catch fish on structure, little small structures that people don't always fish, okay? So how did I know where to look? How did I know what to fish, okay? Hadn't been there since the previous November. It'd been literally a year since I'd even been on the lake. I hadn't even been on the water in a year. So I got to thinking about last year in November versus this year in November. All right. Last year in November, we literally had freezing temperatures, extreme cold weathers, just the opposite of what we had this year. So what I noticed was the weather pattern difference, okay, to where we haven't had but maybe 2 days leading up to that tournament all year that were anywhere close to the 30s. I think we might have had 2 days. So very, very different, very warm, mild temperatures. So I knew right away where last year I was able to catch fish in shallow water because it was cold, water temperatures were down, the lake had already turned, it turned earlier. I knew, okay, that with the warmer temperatures, those fish were going to set up in a late summer, early fall pattern still. Now we're in November. It should be mid to late fall. Well, it should be late fall, early winter pattern actually in November. I felt like I still needed to fish that late summer, early fall pattern, which is 2 months before where we were at. So we were middle of November. I felt like I needed to still fish the middle to end of September. Okay. And I got on my Navionics that evening and was just looking at my Navionics, looking for main lake flats, mostly that 20 to 30 foot of water. And I felt like if I could find a good flat main lake that had that in it, and I could find structure on that flat, then I could catch fish in that deeper structure and that they would be better fish. Okay. I knew I could go catch 7 fish on docks. And I also knew that blackfish on the docks are generally black crappie. I knew those black crappie weren't going to win the tournament. You could go catch 6 or 7 pounds, but you weren't going to win the tournament on docks. I already knew that going in because it just hadn't got cold yet. Okay. So my game plan was kind of go get 7 in the boat and then go find that structure on the main lake on the flats. Well, it kind of worked that way, kind of didn't. I fished one dock first thing that morning and didn't even catch a fish. So I was like, nah, scratch that. That dock that I fished was right there beside the flat that I was planning to fish that day. So I just left the Livescope down and just hit the flat and started looking for structure. Okay. So when I found that on Navy Onyx, it was an area that I had wanted to fish previously and never got the opportunity to. So I thought, may as well take that opportunity, may as well fish it. So got out there. It was very quick. I found structure that morning, and I found 3 pieces of structure kind of in a little triangle, and I was able to catch 2 really nice fish real early off that. And that told me right then and there that I was thinking correct. I had a game plan, and I could catch 7 good fish. Now, I might not catch 70, but I could catch 7 good fish. So I just kept with that, and I ended up catching 50 or 60 fish. Don't get me wrong, I caught a lot of fish that day, but I was able to locate those larger age class of fish, that larger age class of fish that you need for a tournament. I was able to catch 7 good fish, and I was inevitably able to win the tournament. Okay. I used a 6.5 foot ACC crappie stick all day, pitching and casting, even vertical jigging right down to those fish, right on top of them, putting it right on their nose. I used a blue ice stump bug and a black and chartreuse stump bug. I have those somewhere right here. Oh, so I used the bait I used most all day was the blue ice. I used a 1/4 ounce head. I used a 1/4 ounce unpainted jig head. Okay, unpainted, just a straight up lead head. That's all it is, just lead, no paint, no nothing. Okay, no eye, no nothing, just lead. And this is the blue ice stump bug. Okay, it's a little clear on one side, a little silver on the other, with some blue flake in it. That's your blue ice. And then I also caught some fish on the black and chartreuse stump bug as well. Those were the 2 baits that I used all day. All right. So blue ice most of the day, but then at the end of the day, I switched over to black and chartreuse. A lot of times late in the day, black and chartreuse is a good bait. Reason being is because that sun gets up. Those fish get underneath brush and get underneath limbs, underneath stumps, underneath, and that black and chartreuse just, it contrasts to the water, stands out, pops very loudly, and those fish will come out and chase it. So black and chartreuse is a great late day color for me. It always has been. And black and chartreuse has always been a go-to color for me. Okay. So that was kind of how I won the tournament. I mean, it really was, there was a little bit of method behind the madness, but at the same time, it was just a lot of luck as well. All right. And can you guys hear me? Because I think I'm on my Bluetooth, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. If not, I'll speak up. All right. So that's it. That's Cherokee Tournament in a nutshell. 16 boats entered the event. Some really, really great anglers. Fished against some really great guys. And, just blown away to be able to take home the win on that one. So humbled, and to say the least, to take home that win. So a lot of fun. Great day. Love that lake. That lake's got a ton of fish in it. If you hadn't fished Cherokee Lake and you want to try to fish Cherokee Lake, there's structure in that lake. You can find it, especially with Livescope. One thing I will say is my Livescope, what I would do is I would actually put, and don't ask me why I do this, but I put my Livescope on 110. I don't like 100. Okay. I can't look at my screen and see 100. I got to have it at an odd number, like 110. So I put it at 110 feet. I don't know sometimes I feel like that's my lucky distance, you know what I'm saying? 110 feet. So I put it at 110, and then I will just literally set up there with my pole, and this is why I love a pole and not a or the trolling motor. Okay, so I literally would just sit here with my pole and just scan back and forth like this. Okay, scan. As my trolling motor, I put my trolling motor straight. I'm going down through there and I'm just scanning. Okay, I'm just turning this pole left and right, left and right, left and right. And I'm just scanning 100 feet at a time. Okay, and when I see something, whoop, there it is. We stop, take the trolling motor, run over there to it, stop and fish it. Of course, I turn my Livescope down at that point. Once I locate a piece of structure, okay, and I say, yep, there's a piece of structure right there, I will actually turn my Livescope down to about 50 feet and I'll go to that structure. I'll go find that structure and I'll fish that little piece of structure. Okay. Are the crappie safe to eat on Cherokee? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely they are. Only lake I don't like eating fish out of is Loudon. I'll eat them out of any other lake in East Tennessee, but Loudon, nah. Loudon's nasty, guys. All right. So, with that being said, that was Cherokee. A lot of fun, great time, great people. Couldn't ask for a better tournament trail, in my opinion. And we're going to have a conversation about tournament trails probably on the next live because I've got something that I want to say about these tournament trails today. And I'm trying to think of how to say it, but we're going to have a conversation. That's a conversation for another night. All right. So, if you guys watch the video, you guys know I stand in the front of my boat mostly. I am an old bass fisherman. I bass fished for years before I moved into crappie. I don't know what I was thinking. I got smart, whatever you want to call it, but I do stand in the front of my boat most of the time. However, at Cherokee, I was flying solo that day. Did not have a partner with me at that tournament. I was just by myself, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna try sitting down. Hang on one second. Mr. Curtis Hobbs in the house. What's up, Mr. Curtis Hobbs? Mr. Lightwire Hooks in the house, guys. Mr. Curtis owns Lightwire Hooks, in case you don't know. And Mr. Curtis makes some of the best hooks in the business. I actually have a package coming on the way from Mr. Curtis, who I ordered some hooks from. Actually, Mr. Curtis, how many hooks do we order? Like 2,000, 2,200 or something like that? I think we ordered like $2,000 or something like that. Yeah, we had a bunch of hooks. So anyway, I got a package on the way, but very good question. What distance do you start casting to the fish? Very good question. So here in East Tennessee, we do have clear water. Cherokee was clear. That was another thing that I forgot to mention. Thank you, Mr. Curtis. Another thing, we have had no rain in East Tennessee, none to speak of. We've got a little recently, but up to the tournament, we had no rain. I mean, to speak of, no measurable rainfall to talk about at all. Most of the year, most of the fall. Okay, so I knew again, Cherokee was going to be clear. Okay, there was no silt washing down the lake. There was no nothing to kind of muddy that water up a little bit or stain that water. Not necessarily muddy, but stain that water, which also allows those fish to kind of move up shallower. Fish will stay shallower in muddy water. In case you don't know, crappie will go shallower or typically live shallower in dirty water because the light doesn't penetrate dirty water as much. Okay, so that dingier water, fish will go shallow. They'll stay shallower. So if you get up in the top of your lake and it's muddy, you may find fish in 6 to 8 feet of water. Whereas if you get down by the dam on your lake or down at the lower end of the lake and it's uber clear and you can see 6 feet down, those fish aren't going to be in that 6 to 8 feet of water or 8 to 10 feet of water. They're going to be out there in that 16 to 18 feet of water because the light penetration is different. Okay. So again, I knew that those fish were going to be out a little deeper because the water was going to be clear. That was another reason that I stayed out in deeper water. Okay. So thank you, Mr. Curtis, for getting me back on that. But again, the distance that I start casting those fish with that uber clear water, if I'm fishing 20 foot plus, I'll get in there to 30 to 40 feet before I start casting to them. If I'm fishing any shallower than 20, I try to start casting at 40 to 50. And then what I'll do, Mr. Curtis, is I make those first few casts. Okay. If I get bit, I'll kind of stay right there in that distance. If I don't get bit, then I'll kind of move up a little bit. So I may move up 5 feet and make a few casts. Move up 5 feet, make a few casts. Move up 5 feet, make a few casts. Eventually, and every time I move up, Mr. Curtis, I bump that live scope down. So I bring that screen in. So if I'm at 50, let's say I'm at 50 and I make a few casts and don't get bit. Let's say I move to 40, then I'll move that screen to 40. Okay. Then let's say I move to 30. I'll move that screen to 30. What I'm doing with that, okay, is every time you condense that screen, the image gets bigger. So you can identify those individual fish that much better. And as I move into those individual fish, as I get, individual fish right here, and I'm bringing my boat in, and that fish gets bigger and bigger because I'm shrinking my screen, okay? I'm shrinking my range on my screen. My screen's staying the same, but the range is shrinking. So the fish that's sitting there is getting larger as I move the boat towards him, okay? Then I can start trying to pick off those individual fish with each cast, okay? And a lot of times, as I move in closer, I'll see a fish that I didn't see at 50 feet. I'll see a couple fish that I didn't see back there at 40. I'll move in and try to identify those individual fish and catch those individual fish, okay? Ordered 2,100, sent 2,250. Yes, I know, Mr. Curtis. Mr. Curtis always sends goodies with your packages, guys. You always get, you may order like I ordered, a lot of 16ths, 24ths, and 32nds with a number 4 hook with a round head, I think they were all round headed. Yeah, they were all round headed. Anyway, eagle claw hook, 16ths, 24ths, and 32nds. And Mr. Curtis will always throw in there some aspirin heads or some minnow heads, some bladed jigs, some of the different stuff. He always kinds of throws you a little package in there to say, hey, this is what else that I do. You know what I'm saying? And I always love those little packages because it's always neat to see those different. Speaking of which, Mr. Curtis, that collar that you sent me, that tapered collar, I like that tapered collar. I like it better unpainted. I don't like it with the paint on it, but the ones that are unpainted, that tapered collar, are the bomb, especially for the round jigs like the stump bug. Okay, that round tapered collar, man, it works great. So I may get some of those from you because those things were pretty awesome in my opinion. But we'll talk about that later. December through March, best time to chase roaming crappie. Yeah. December through March for sure, Roadhouse. That's my favorite time to chase roaming crappie. You can catch roaming crappie pretty much any time of the year, but December through March is when they really suspend and they're really kind of on the move. That's my favorite time for sure. When do you use a 1/4 ounce jig head? Very good question. Anytime I'm fishing over 15 feet. If I'm fishing over 15, I'll go to a 1/4 ounce jig head a lot of times. And if I'm fishing the open water fish that are below 5 feet, I go to a 1/4 ounce head because I want that jig down there to those fish. Used to, before Livescope, we would throw light jigs because, we didn't want that jig falling that fast because we couldn't see where our jig was. So we wanted to throw that 16th out there and count it down a foot a second so that we could get in that strike zone of where we saw them on our side imaging. But now with Livescope, I want that jig down there because I want to catch that fish as quickly as I can and move on to the next one. So I use a 1/4 ounce jig a lot of times. And again, a 1/4 ounce jig, you can reel a 1/4 ounce jig and it'll kind of stay level in the water column. Whereas if you reel a 16th, it rises as it comes back to the boat. But a 1/4 ounce, you can keep it in that strike zone a lot longer. Again, things that we can do now with Livescope that we couldn't do previously, right? So, I'll use a 1/4 ounce anytime I can get away with it. Used to, we used the lightest jig we could get away with. Now I kind of like to use the heaviest jig I can get away with because I can fish a little bit faster and I can present my bait to more fish. And on a tournament scenario, the more fish I present my bait to, the more chance I have to cull one and catch a bigger bag, blah, 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 moving on. So that's kind of the way I do it. But guide trips, things of that nature, I like to slow down on my guide trips. I like to go with a 16th or an 8th and, catch those fish. It's all about the experience, catching your fish and having a good day. So I will slow down a little bit when it comes to guide trips for sure. All right. So, like I said earlier, decided to sit down at Cherokee. Decided that, hey, I was going to sit down, slow down. Well, not really slow down, but sit down, fish from a sitting position. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of liked it. I kind of loved it. It was nice. I got done that day, and my back didn't hurt, my legs didn't hurt, my butt didn't hurt, my neck didn't hurt, my eyes didn't hurt, my head didn't hurt. I mean, 8-hour tournament day, everything normally hurts. Your back, your legs, your butt, your hips, your thighs, everything hurts. Your head hurts. You got a headache. You come back to the weigh-in, you're like a zombie. You're trying to get everything done, get out of there, and you're popping Tylenol or Advil trying to get through the day. Then you get home and your kids want to play, and you're like, I don't want to play. I'm hurting. Leave me alone. I'm going to bed. I fished Cherokee and came home and felt like $1 million. I was just like, this is it. This is the ticket. I'm going to sit down and fish. Then I got to thinking about it, and I thought, well, wait a minute. Okay. I got one pedestal in the front of this boat, and when I fish with a partner who's not on here tonight, I ain't seen Josh on here tonight. That's because he has a new baby. Congratulations, Josh. But anyway, when I sit in the front in my one little pedestal seat right here, it's going to be hard for somebody to fish beside me unless they're bumping me with their elbow every 2 seconds. So I thought, I guess I'm going to have to invest in a double seat. So that's what we did. We got us a double seat right here. I went with the Millennium, okay, Sidekick, double seat. Now, this is not the seats. This does not include the seats. This is just the base plate, all right? This is just the base plate. This is the Gen 2, all right? But this is just the bases right here, okay? Just these bases and the poles. So, I know everybody says the Millennium boat or fishing seats are comfortable. I don't think they are. I'm sorry. If you're a Millennium seat guy, I'm sorry. I don't think they're comfortable. I've sat in a bunch of them. They're not for me. It's like sitting on a board. I don't know. There's no cushion. So anyway, maybe when they get broke in or something, they better off. But I just don't prefer them. They're great seats. Don't get me wrong. What am I doing? But not my cup of tea. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to use my Ranger seats because I do love my Ranger seats because they got all kinds of cushion on them. Golly, it's like Fort Knox to get in this box. So we are going to put this in the front of the boat and see if we can't catch more fish out of a seat. So when you open this up, you got a couple different things. Okay. What is that for? Is that for that? No. Oh, that's for the big. That's an adapter for your large. I think that's an adapter. Oh no, you guys are looking at the same thing I'm looking at. Where's the picture? Isn't that how guys do things? They look at the picture and go, oh, that goes right there. Yeah, that's what it is. All right, that's an adapter for the large hole so you can put your seat pedestal in it. We don't need that. But this is all anodized aluminum. It's got non-skid feet on the chairs. Who else has one of these? It's got non-skid feet. All right. On the feet. All really well built, looks like. I like that it's all aluminum. Look at this. Goodness gracious. Hey, will one of you guys come over here and put this together? Will you guys come over here to Wired Marine and put this together for me? Man, assembly is always required, isn't it? Always, always, always. They couldn't just send it in the box already assembled. What's their deal? Oh, well. So we're going to get this thing put together. And you guys are going to get to see me sitting a little bit more. Because I don't have to go home and hurt at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? This is pretty neat. So you got seat bases. So here we go. So these seat bases are pretty neat. So if I wanted to, I could put these on the bottom of my Ranger seat. And it's got a pin right here. Look at this little pin. It's got a pin right here. And a little collar on it. And you can move it up and down. So for you long-legged people, I'm not long-legged. I'm 5'7". So I don't have to worry about it. I can just set it right in there. I can just set it right on in there, and I'll be good to go. The top hole is the one for me. Maybe the bottom hole is the one for you guys, but the top hole is the one for me. Let me tell you, because I'm a shorty McShort. Whether I look that way on camera or not, I don't know, but I am. All right, so some of you Ranger guys are going to say, well, hey, oh, there's a little short one. Check that out. Little short pedestal. Cool. Huh. Neato. All right, so some of you guys, hey, look. There's instructions in the box. Check it out. We got instructions. Tells you how to install everything, put it all together, make it work pretty much, how to make it work. So all this is really well made. It's really well built. And it's solid as all get out. So the first version of this, you had to buy an adapter for the Ranger. For you guys that have a Ranger like I do and have the 1.77-inch pedestal, the big one, you used to have to buy an adapter. You don't have to buy an adapter anymore. These will actually accept the 1.77 Ranger pedestal now and close on that pedestal. So there's a right here in this bag, there's a rubber bushing that goes in here. If you leave that little rubber bushing out, it goes around the 177 pedestal and actually will close for you Ranger boat guys. So, I mean, hey, it's pretty neat. I'm looking forward to using it and probably going to stretch this thing out all the way to the edge of the boat and give myself enough space in the center of the boat to walk back and forth. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to take more assembly than we have time for tonight. So I'll have to assemble that, and maybe I'll do a video on it, putting it together. And we'll have to look at it when it gets done. It's not going to happen tonight, I can tell you that. That's on my want list. Yeah, it really wasn't on mine, but after I fished sitting down at Cherokee, and then I got to thinking about my poor pitiful partner that would be standing up there in the boat beside me trying to fish and not be able to see, and it just made more sense to have two seats up there. I'm on this side, put him over here on that side with that live scope, because two live scopes up front, you know, one on each side, two screens, 1222 down there and a 126 up there. So it just makes more sense, especially for my guide trips. So for my guide trips, you know, we've always stood in the front of the boat. There's been a couple times where I have had to put a seat up there because I've had somebody that, you know, had a bad knee, bad back, bad hip, so on and so forth. And you try to accommodate your client the best you can, so you put a seat up there for them. And this is just going to make it that much better. I can sit right up there with them, and, you know, or they can sit there and I can stand in between them, and I can kind of direct and say, hey, there's fish here, there's fish there, there's 35 fish over there, cast to that brush pile, you know. So it's going to be really good that way. Also, for those guide trips, that puts them sitting down. I can stand up behind them. I can still see the screens and things. I'm not trying to look around them, and it's going to be a lot better. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be pretty neat. I do believe. Now I can go fishing with you. Yeah, you can. You can on a lake that we don't fish tournaments on. You can, Joel, for sure. What's up, Matt? Robert from Wisconsin. What's going on, Robert? Loctite on the hardware. Learned that the hard way. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that, buddy. I had that thought as well. I'm sitting here looking at it, thinking to myself, there's no lock washers on any of this. So like that right there, there is no lock washer on that. So I'm assuming that the more I run up and down the lake, the more that's going to want to come loose. So yeah, we'll probably throw a little blue Loctite on there once we get them set in the front where we want them set at. We'll probably throw a little blue Loctite on them, and that's where they'll live. Once I get them set the way I want them, that's probably the way I'll leave them. So I'll put blue Loctite on them. But thank you very much for the tip. I got one. I like it. I do on a G3 Bay. Like them a lot, especially the legs. I love their products. I have the seats on my John boat. That is awesome. Yeah, Millennium Marine makes some really cool stuff. They make some really great products, and they're well made. I mean, look, I bought this just like you guys do. I don't care to tell you, I paid like $329. I bought it from Bass Pro. Okay, so I'm not sponsored by Millennium Marine. I can assure you that. I bought it just like you guys would, but I bought it because it was so nice sitting down the other day that I just don't think I want to stand up anymore. I just don't think I want to stand up anymore. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a lot of fun putting this thing together, getting it set up in the front of the boat. Like I said, another thing I'll mention. For those of you that have Ultrexes, has anybody ever had their toggle switch go out on their foot pedal? Yeah, mine went out on me. I had to unplug it from the front. I got a plug right there, a little plug right up there. If you did not have a plug and you were straight wired and that little joker goes out on you, then your trolling motor stays on all the time. The plug was not expensive. It was like $15, $20. It was not a big deal. And it was very easy to replace. I've done about 300 of them. So if you guys have an Ultrex and your plug goes out, don't think your trolling motor's broke. Don't think it's a big deal. You can call Wired Marine Electronics right here in Maryville, Tennessee, and we can replace it for you. It's not hard. Very, very simple. Or you can do it yourself. Now, I will say this. The wires are a little short. So if you're not careful and you cut your wires too short, it could become a pain in the butt. It very well could if you're not careful, because if you cut your wires too short, there is no wire. There's no extra wire in the foot pedal. Oh, good question right here. Matthew, have you ever had problems with the picture rocking back and forth on Livescope? I calibrated it and it still does it every once in a while. Yes, your Livescope will do that every once in a while. Why is that? Well, because inside your Livescope, all right, inside your Livescope transducer, there is we'll call it a level, okay? We'll call it a bubble level. It's not really that, but it's picture a bubble level, okay? That's what tells your Livescope if you're in auto orientation, okay? That's what tells your Livescope to go down or forward view, all right? So there's an auto orientation on your Livescope, and it tells it if it's in forward or if it's in perspective or if it's in down. And if you take your transducer out of the lake before you turn the transmit off, don't ever go take that transducer out of the lake before you turn the transmit off. If you do that, lay it on your deck, run down the lake, put it back in there. Sometimes it doesn't reorientate to forward. So what you get is you get this rocking of bottom. And every time you turn your Livescope pole, whether you turn it with your hand or turn it with your trolling motor, the image rocks. The bottom moves. You have to turn the unit off, turn it back on, and it resets itself. If you go to orientation in your settings and you put it in forward, let's say you always use forward like I do. I don't ever use down or perspective. I use forward. If you go to your orientation and put it in forward, that will help. It still will get messed up sometimes, very rarely at that point, but it still sometimes will glitch and you have to turn it off and turn it back on, but it's very rare. Again, if you turn the transmit off on your settings before you take your transducer out of the lake, and then you put your transducer back in the lake before you turn transmit back on, you won't have that problem as much. Okay, there are things to do that will limit the amount that will happen. Now, again, if it happens, just turn your unit off, turn it back on. That typically fixes your issue. Okay. I had a leg come off, set the hook, and did a backflip off the front deck. That is what I mean by Loctite and learned the hard way. Goodness gracious. How hard do you set the hook? Rob is like ripping lips, literally. He's like, he's bearing back on him. He's putting the cattywampus on him, as my son would say. The cattywampus. He's putting the cattywampus on him, aren't you, buddy? Well, I will make sure that I Loctite. I was looking at these legs right here. I was looking at, they're open on the backside. Anytime something is open on the backside, anytime that it's threaded and open on the backside, I Loctite the crap out of them because it will. It will loosen up. They will loosen up something fierce. I've seen it a million times myself. So yes, these will be, and these may be red Loctited because I won't ever need to take the legs back off. So I may red Loctite those. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it for tonight. I don't have anything else unless you guys have anything. We, like I said, I'll get this put in the boat. We may take a look at it again next week. Once it's all in there, kind of show you my setup again. But that's all I got. Is there anything else you guys would like to see on the boat setup before I leave? Because I guess we can walk through and look. I've got, for those of you that have asked, I've got 2 Lowrences on the console. Okay, HDS Gen 1s. All right, that's a 10-inch HDS Gen 1 and an 8-inch HDS Gen 1. All right. I do have the structure scan box down here. All right, under the dash. Where's it at? It's somewhere down here. Where'd it go? Can you see it under there? I can't see my phone. Oh, yeah, there it is. Right there. Right over yonder. Right there. All right, so I do have the structure scan box right there. Okay, so for those that know what the Lowrance is, the Lowrance, the old Gen 1 units, they actually have a structure scan box, and everything runs through that structure scan box. Okay, that is basically your brain, and I'm a believer that that's why I get such great images, because the brain for my unit is actually a standalone, not incorporated into the unit, and that brain does all the thinking, and then my unit just has to worry about putting a picture out. So I love the Gen 1 units. I still run them. Yeah, there's 400 million different units on the market that I could run, but I love my Lowrance Gen 1s, and I'll run them until they die. And then I'll go over here to my box of tricks, and I'll get the other 15 units that I have stored over there, and I will put a new one on the boat. So, Matt, I appreciate you coming on every week and sharing your knowledge and tips with others. I think you're a good ambassador for the sport, and I like that you encourage others to get out and fish. Man, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat, Roadhouse. That's a blessing to me. It's a blessing to this channel. It's a blessing to my family. It's a blessing just all the way around. So thank you very much for the super chat, buddy. I appreciate you. And hey, that's what I do it for. I do it for you guys, right? I do it because I love it. Ambassador, I don't know about all that, but I appreciate you saying it, and I thank you. And I do love the sport of crappie fishing. I love fishing in general. I love the sport of crappie fishing. I'm just an outdoorsman. I just love to do it. So thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. And I love people, and I love you guys. So, hey, that's what we're here to do. We're going to keep doing it until they tell me I can't do it anymore. And if they tell me I can't do it anymore, we're gonna go on the dark web, and we're gonna do it on the dark web. So that's what we're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? So again, thank you very much. It's a blessing, and I appreciate you, Roadhouse. Thank you. All right. So up front, we got, let's see, can you guys see? We got the Ultrex. All right. We got the Ultrex up front. We got the Fishing Specialties poles for our Livescope. All right. One, and where's the other one? Right over here somewhere. Can you see it? I can't really see it because of all my junk in the corner. So you got one there, one on the other side over here. All right. So 2 Fishing Specialties poles. We got 2 12-inch units. We got the 126 SV right here. We got the 1222 down there. We're running a 34 transducer over there. We're running a 32 transducer over here. I do not use any of my down imaging or anything on my trolling motor. None of that's hooked up, just the trolling motor. Okay, just standalone Ultrex up front. I use the foot pedal mostly. I use the remote a little bit, but for the most part, I'm using the I'm using the foot pedal up front. Okay. Eric said it's nice hearing and learning from someone other than Google. Hey, Google knows everything. Google knows everything. You know what I'm saying? All right. So got the Merc 4-stroke back there, Merc Pro XS 4-stroke. That got put on the boat this past year. You guys saw that video, or if you didn't, you can go watch that video. Just got that motor last year. Really, really like that motor. Running my Ultrex, I've got right here in this compartment, I have 2 24-volt amped lithium batteries. They're 80 amp hour, 24-volt amp batteries running my Ultrex. Okay. I have those in series. So I'm running 24 volts up front, 2 24-volt 80 amp hours. So that gives me 160 amp hours of 24-volt power. And I bet I could run those things for 3 days, 8-hour days, and still run my trolling motor. Those things are incredible. I absolutely love them. All right. And let's see. On my Livescope batteries, let's see if I can dig one out here without spilling everything in the floor. All right. Livescope, I run each unit, okay? I have 2 units up front. Each unit has a amped outdoors 30 amp hour 12-volt lithium battery. This thing is tiny. I mean, look at this. This thing's just a little bitty old tiny thing. It don't weigh nothing, okay? This thing is the bomb, all right? It is deep cycle lithium battery from Amped Outdoors, all right? There's your posts up top, little Phillips head posts. This will run my 12-inch Livescope unit system, whole system, black box and screen for about 9.5, 10 hours. Okay. I can squeeze 9.5, 10 hours out of them. And this battery was, let's see, what's the date on this battery? This battery doesn't have a date on it that I can find. This battery doesn't have a date on it. However, the other amped battery I have does. Amped Outdoors used to be Energized Outdoors, okay? Some of you guys probably don't know that Amped Outdoors used to be Energized Outdoors, okay? Again, same battery, everything the same, just a different logo. I've been with them since they were Energized Outdoors, okay? Now, this battery right here that has been running my Livescope system 8 to 10 hours a day, okay, without dying and getting recharged, has been in service since, there's a date right there, 9 of 2019, guys. And I fish every week, multiple times a week. 9 of 2019, I've been running this battery. Now, it may crap out on me tomorrow. I'm not going to say it's not going to. Knock on wood. Pop, pop, pop. But I've been running that, and that is Amped Outdoors. It's not Energized anymore. That's an old logo. Please remember, that's an old logo. That is the new battery, or the new logo, okay, Amped Outdoors. But that 30 amp hour battery has been in service since 9 of 2019, okay? And I don't know how many times it's been charged. I can't tell you. A lot. a lot of times. Okay. So for those that say, hey, lithiums are expensive, those are not that expensive. They're what, 200 and with the charger, $220, $240, something like that for that battery. It is well worth it. You can run your whole system off this. Anybody that comes into Wired Marine Electronics to get an install, I recommend a lithium 30 amp hour battery. If they want to go with amp, that's fine. If they want to go with another, there's other companies out there. I prefer Amped Outdoors, but you know, there's Monster Marine, there's Miller Tech Marine, there's a few other ones that are doing some good lithium batteries. But don't cheap out, please. Don't go to Amazon and buy a cheap lithium battery, because it will crap out on you. Okay. Yeah. Roadhouse says Amped Outdoor lithiums are great. I have a 32 amp hour batteries. Good stuff. Very good stuff. So, you know, don't cheap out on the battery. Get a good battery, and your Livescope will perform the way it's supposed to perform. Livescope needs power to perform at an optimal level. That's just like you guys. You guys need to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner to perform at an optimal level. It needs power. That's its food. Okay. Livescope eats power, and it needs it. So don't cheap out on that. Get you a good battery, and your Livescope will run well for you. Okay. All right. That's it for tonight. We're going to say goodbye. I appreciate you guys for watching. As always, God bless. Watch out for the next video to drop. It's going to be a good one. And we will catch you guys next week, same time, same place, Wednesday night, 9 o'clock on the next live. We're going to get the the Millennium Marine double seat set up in the boat. We'll show you guys that next week. And I appreciate you as always for watching and for everything y'all do, for all the comments, all the questions. I wouldn't be here without you guys. So check out wiredforcrappie.com. All the merchandise, got new hats for you guys on wiredforcrappie.com, new shirts, new colors, floating keychains, decals, all kinds of good stuff on wiredforcrappie.com. Check that out. And as always, like I said, I appreciate you guys. God bless. Have a great week, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.